Hello and welcome to the True North Show. I'm your host, Megan North, and I'd like to start by thanking the sponsors of the show, Quantum Awakening, Beth Lewis and Anne C. Clark. Joining me today is the wonderful and amazing Yvette Timmins, florist, educator, author and founder of Bloom College. Now, Yvette and I were recently chatting about her honeymoon in Japan, and she shared with me a conversation she had that stopped her in her tracks, and I knew immediately that we had to bring it to the show. So Yvette, welcome back to the show.
Thank you, Megan. It's so nice to be back here with you again.
It is. It's really lovely. So for the audience and the listeners, today the show is going to feel a little bit different to the usual, and I'm doing in rabbit ears, interview style for those not watching and listening. This is going to be more of a conversation. And although we have an idea of what we would like to focus on, Yvette and I both know that when our intuition kicks in, who knows where this will go.
Very true.
Yeah. So grab your favorite drink or your snack, sit back and enjoy, and let's see where the conversation takes us.
Wonderful.
All right. So I'm going to start with an easy question for you, Yvette. So let's start with, how was the honeymoon in Japan? And also, was this the first time you travelled to Japan, to that country?
Yes, for me, it was my second time to Japan.
Okay.
My husband, he's been multiple times. For me, it was the second time. It was our first time to a place called Okinawa, though. So Okinawa is south of Japan. It's separate to Japan. Japan took over Okinawa in somewhere like the late 1700s or so. It was occupied by the US from 1945 after the war. Around 1970 or so, it was handed back to Japan. And so it's quite different to Japan. It's a tropical place. It's quite close to the equator. And it's one of the blue zones. So it was the first time there, and it was quite a magical experience, that's for sure.
Beautiful. And we'll get to the blue zone in a minute, but let's start with, so can you take us back to, you're in Japan, paint us a picture of the moment that when you met this man, where were you, how did it come about? Like, can you share with everyone what you shared with me, and go in as much detail as you like?
Yeah, we'll do. Absolutely. So yeah, there were multiple people, to be honest, that we met that really, touched us, and there was a real connection that sort of, when something sort of connects with you and hits you really hard. But the gentleman that was in Okinawa, that probably was the most prominent for both of us and significant, was an elderly gentleman, Oida-san, and he ran this most gorgeous campground and campsite, and we were the only people there. We had this little RV that we hired, and we're driving around in the RV, and there's all these beautiful free campsites right on the water. It was stunning. And we had this one particular time at Oida-san, I should say, at his beautiful little campground. And he really wanted to share with us and share his space with us. And he did that so generously, and didn't want to just show us around, actually wanted to deeply connect with us. And I had done some time reading around, part of the Okinawa culture and what it is about them that's quite different. And a lot of it is around that personal connection, that deep soul connection, and learning about people and connecting with people. And that's a very integral, important ingredient in life. And so he was able to then share with us what it is about Okinawan culture, and not just share it like some, reading a textbook, which is what I've done before, but really it was just so prominent in that he really does truly live it. And not just him, also his family and neighbours, who we also got to meet and connect with as well.
Yeah.
And so some of those lessons are obviously in that human interaction and making it a really important part of a daily life, not just, getting home from work and hiding behind closed doors and shying away from people. It's about connecting with people in your community, but also connecting with new people and learning from new people as well. Yeah, so that was really important for me, and as I said, it really hit home, because we can read things And so we're intellectualizing them, and then we can have some times in our lives where we connect emotionally to these things as well. And so that's an example of that, where we're able to connect emotionally because he is living it. It's part of his culture and his lifestyle. But we also then could easily have just come home and then kind of forgotten about it, or go back to our old habits of, not connecting perhaps enough, or with people in our community and our outer community, and also our obviously families as well. So it's now that practice to make it now a habit in my life, because it is something that I've many times shied away from or not paid enough attention and focus to. So we, as I said, know something intellectually, but it's about making it part of our lifestyle now. And so, so for me, that was a real big takeaway. But of course, there's so much more that makes up their lifestyle and their longevity.
Yeah. And so what was it, that moment that he gave you those few words that really struck with you, that then have really struck with me? So what was that conversation that you had with him?
So part of it was connecting with nature. But the biggest one, and the one that really hit home, is just living in the moment and living for today. Now, it doesn't mean that we don't plan for the future. They certainly plan for the future. They plant and they farm, so that's planning for the future.
Yeah.
But there's a difference of planning and worrying about the future. And so they do not, and he certainly does not worry about the future or stress about the future, because, of course, we have no control over the future. And so, but also, and more so, if we enjoy the moment and appreciate the moment and look for all of the things within the moment that we are grateful and happy for, then we project that and we align with it, and then we bring more of that back into our daily lives. And that in itself is like farming. It's like setting ourselves up for the future that we want. Yeah. And so it is planning for the future, but it's not worrying about it.
I love that. And was it specifically, he said, just focus on today? Were they the words that he sort of similarly used?
He did, but he also said, and he was very, like you could see, he was actually putting his body into it. He's so, emotional in sharing the message. It's really like kinesthetic being, just really like putting it out there. And that was part of the message. It's like, don't just take today for granted, marvel in it. Look at the beauty around you. Look at nature. Bring nature inside. Go out and be in nature. Marvel in it, enjoy it, and appreciate it for what it is, and look for the beauty in everything. And so that was, that was a really, as I said, that was a really important lesson for me as well. Again, we can read about all this stuff. We can hear people tell us, but to feel it from somebody who's living it daily and has it as its habitual part of their life, did really hit home a lot more. That's for sure.
I would imagine that his energy is just vibrating that as well, right? Like, which is why you would have felt it too, as you said, because that's
a good point. Yeah.
And, that energy vibrating out, you then connect that.
Yeah. And he's been living it for, 80-something years. So, he was vibrating at a very high level. That's
yeah. And I read somewhere, and I've known this before, but I've only sort of just recently reread it, in the sense of I don't know who said it, so I don't know. I don't know whether it's a psychological piece but anyway, it's about if we're focusing on the past, that's usually depression and regret. And if we're focused on the future, that's anxiety. But if we are just focusing on today, we're really present. There's none of that, because we're here today.
Absolutely. Yeah, I have heard Eckhart Tolle say similar things.
Oh, okay, right.
So
it's a beautiful, it's a really good reminder, isn't it, of just that, because it's one of the things that when after we had this conversation, I have been really connecting into it myself. To
Yeah.
think, okay, yes, I get the part, yeah, we do need to plan for the future. We
Mm.
do. It's not just us sitting here going, well, I hope tomorrow is going to be all right. Like I
Right.
need
Yeah,
to do something.
exactly. And it's
But
not being reckless about today either.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Yeah, it's what can I get out of today that's actually going to be really beneficial for me today, but then actually it's almost a layering then as well, isn't it? Because then it's like, okay, so today I've learned something today. Wow, isn't that amazing? I'm really grateful. And we know then that that learning is then going to help us in the future. It'll help us
That's right.
tomorrow and the next day.
Yeah.
Um,
It's having that knowledge, but not necessarily with that purpose or with that intention. The
yeah,
intention is just enjoy today,
yeah,
appreciate today,
yeah,
appreciate the moment of today. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, and
And
yeah, we can have that knowledge that it's setting us up for the future,
yeah,
but it's not with that necessary intention. The
yeah,
intention is let's enjoy right now.
yeah, yeah. And I also feel like it really ties into something that um, when I was, and I know that we were going to talk about this. So when I left the corporate world, like I had a
Mm.
really, really big successful career in HR, earned a lot of money, and it's actually 5 years ago on the 1st of July that I
Oh,
started my
wow.
own business. So
Interesting
yeah,
time
it's
that we're talking about it today.
yeah, it's funny, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. And for me, I've always had this innate trust that things are going to work out.
Mm.
Like I knew when I was leaving. I mean, so many people like at work were like, "Oh my God, like really?" And it was funny because where I was working at the time, I was on a contract, but I was about to be made permanent, and that was actually my tipping point of, do you know what? Because if I'm made permanent, I feel like then I've got to stay. I've really got to stay for at least another couple of years, and I was like, that kind of for me was that point. But um, I just had this innate trust that I just knew.
Mm.
And I always know every day that everything is going to work out. And
Yes.
so I think that also this is why this really resonated with me when
Mm.
we talked about this too, because it
Sure.
almost feels like it then comes in together as if I'm just focusing on today, I'm just in that trust.
We're always going to be okay. Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
just trusting.
Yes. And so you feel you've always had that, like as a child, or do you feel that you have somehow created that as a habit in your life, or do you feel like you've always felt that way? You've always had this trust and
Mm.
connection
I
that.
think probably when I was younger, I did. And then I think I probably lost my way with it.
Mhm.
And then I guess it's come back, and not just necessarily in the last 5 years. I think it's probably, it's interesting that you ask me that, because if I really reflect on it now, like, so my dad has been gone, it's 10 years tomorrow, and my mum's 12 years, and so having lost both my parents, I mean, that completely changes your life. No one prepares you to lose a parent.
No.
My mum died and then my dad died. It was like, oh my
No.
gosh.
Yeah.
But for me, I think then that trust aspect came in, because for me, my mum, I'm clairaudient, so I hear my mum.
Yeah. Isn't that
And
right?
then my dad, so when my mum passed away, it was a shock. We weren't expecting it. And so that sort of really stepping into that, oh my gosh, like, and then being connected to her was really beautiful. But
Yeah.
then 2 years later, when my dad passed away, I had a conversation with him before he passed. How was he going to turn up to me in the physical world
No,
so that he knew that he was around? Anyway, we had this beautiful long conversation. It was quite funny. Anyway, he turns up to me. I haven't got one here, but they're called willy wagtails, so like blue
okay.
wrens, that when they sit, their little tail goes up.
Oh, yeah, cute.
And my dad said to me, "Why do you think a blue wren, willy wagtail?" And I said, "Well, they're cute and they're cheeky. It's like you." So
Ah,
I see him all the time. Like my dad
so
turns up
great.
that
That's
way.
wonderful.
But I think that knowing that my mum and dad, and particularly because I can hear my mum,
Mm.
that trust then I think came back into my life as well, because it's like they're not here, so they're in the angelic world, so I can ask them as many things as I want to help me with things. But I also know from messages that I get from them that they're always around us, always around me, and that they're looking after me.
Yeah, isn't that great?
So I think that trust, I think, then came in at that time.
Mm.
And then I've just slowly built it, that even when things have been like worrying or in my business, oh my gosh, what am I doing sort of thing, I've just gone back to that moment, focusing on today of just
isn't that wonderful?
in that trust.
Yeah. And do you have certain things that kind of help to anchor it? Like, do you have, or yeah, I mean, is there anything that you would suggest for people who don't but would like to build that in as a habit in their day-to-day life? Because I know there's many people who are, they're fearful of the future and they do worry about it. And so, and we're kind of conditioned in many parts of the world. And some family makeup is to worry about the future and to stress about the future. I mean, look at the, marketing's constantly saying, like insurance and life insurance and all these things that we need, and worrying about the future. And so, have you got sort of anything that you think, like advice that you would give to people to how they can put that into practice?
I think for me, one of the things that I do a lot of is reflection. And so it's reflection in the sense of when I feel like I'm stuck or nothing's working, I reflect on where I've been even in the last week or the last month or where I was a year ago. And for me, that really helps, because it's almost like a reset of my brain of, oh, okay, yep. I'm just every day, I'm just chipping away, doing what I need to do. And when I feel unfocused or lost, then doing that really helps me.
Absolutely, align you.
Yeah, because then the gratitude comes in, the lessons and the wisdom that you've been gifted then come in as well, and you're kind of reminded of that. So that works for me. But so it's almost it's like a gratitude practice, but it's not, I don't need to do, I mean, I'm grateful for everything every day. I don't necessarily have a planned gratitude practice every day, because I just, every time something happens, I actually say I'm really grateful.
Yeah, isn't that
just normal for me?
Yeah.
So that's like an instant thing. But then if I need to recenter, that's what I do, is like that reflection.
Great.
What about you?
For me, definitely gratitude in the beginning. I had to build it in and make it like I had to remind myself to do it at set times of the day to make it a habitual thing, which I do now. Every now and then, if I feel a little bit off kilter and feel like there's, maybe negative thoughts creeping in, or I start going into kind of, victim, or why is this happening and this isn't fair or whatever, then I remember, hold on a minute, what do I actually need to be grateful for here? And it just shifts things really, really quickly. And then, of course, then things start to flow and everything falls back into alignment again. So remembering that it's an inside job. So I'm only, reflecting out there what's going on in here. So I've got to fix in here, fix the system up, and then things flow again. So I think that's pretty much it. But it's just that, as I said, many of us have not been conditioned to trust in the universe, and trust that it works out the way it's supposed to work out. So we try and control, and then the minute we try and control, then of course it's a world of pain. Sorry, I was just intrigued to know, because you said that when you were leaving your job and it was about to become something that's certain, which is a lot of people, again, that's part of how people try to control, is having things that are so-called certain. When you said certain people were saying you shouldn't be leaving, and all those sorts of things, how did you go through a process that you had to navigate that? Did you question and think sometimes, oh, maybe they were wrong, like maybe they were right and maybe you were wrong, or anything like that? Did you?
No.
I
made up my mind.
Right. Yeah.
And I think sorry?
You just had that knowing. Yeah.
Yeah.
You were able to.
And for me too is that it had been a long time coming. Like it had been a few years of me thinking, I mean, I was really good. I was in HR for well over 20 years. I was a really good HR practitioner. I loved my job. I loved what I
Yeah,
did.
that's
But I
great.
got to the point where it wasn't filling my cup like it used to.
Sure.
And so it was sort of a couple of years coming in the sense of this is not really what I want to do anymore. And I think the other thing too is that like in my career, I coached and mentored people every day of my life because as a HR practitioner, you tend to do that. But what I found was because then I was learning more about myself, doing my cards, being a healer, I wanted to be able to coach and mentor people the way that I wanted to do it on my own terms. And so I knew that working in a big corporate organization, I couldn't walk into a CEO or a CFO and say, right, now let me get some cards out and let's
Yeah.
unpack this. So I think for me, it was more that just that moment of, you know what, it just felt like it was the right time to do it
Yeah.
because I just thought if I stay, it's going to be another couple of years where I'm soulless and beating myself. I should have.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and I had one very senior person, the chief information officer, who I was his direct support in the organization. And he actually said to me, he said, I'm in so much awe of because you are actually just taking this leap of faith.
Yeah.
And he said it was something that I could never have done.
Wow. That's interesting, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. And do you have days where you reflect and think, what if you hadn't? Like, what if you didn't back yourself and take.
Yeah, I think like the first couple of years, so I was talking about this to someone the other day. I mean, the first couple of years of my business, didn't really make any money and I'd left
Most of us don't.
a massive paying job, right? So most people would say I was crazy, but I don't listen to most people. But I think what happened was then, and so my husband, I've got a very, very supportive husband who has a very good job. We don't have debt. His children are older, so we're in quite a good position. So,
Right.
but I was panicked that I wasn't earning money. He wasn't worried at all. He's like, you're fine, don't worry about it. But I think because I had been, such on my game and it was so normal for me. So what I did was I started in the first couple of years doing some little short-term HR consulting contracts. But then what I found was going back into that space, then I was like, oh my gosh, this is why I should have, this is why I've left.
Yeah.
Those moments, brought me in some big money, but it was funny because it then became, wow, it's actually not about the money. Like
It made you realize it more.
yeah. So I think those couple of years for me, I was probably just testing it in the sense of, oh, well, I could always go back or I could always do this.
Yeah.
And so I got to the point where after 2 years, I just put a line in the sand and said, no more.
Great. Because you can't really have one foot in, one foot out, can you? You really?
No.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
So, yeah, interesting.
And so if someone was sort of in your position back then, sorry, how many years has it been now?
5 years.
5 years, yeah. So 5 years ago, if someone was in your position today, the position you were in 5 years ago, wondering and they're sitting on the fence and they're thinking, oh, I want to pursue something else and, this role just isn't doing it for me anymore. But they just feel fear, I guess, fear around the uncertainty and fear about what their friends or family might think, fear around financial parts of it. What advice would you give them?
It's funny because this is the type of work that I do with women, who particularly want to leave the corporate world as well, is that, it doesn't need to be as dramatic as what I did.
Yeah.
You could just start something, you could start or explore. I think the first thing is what is it that you want to pursue, right? That's really important. So that's a new program that I'm about to release actually in the sense of uncovering that of what's your passion and your purpose, and is something just a hobby or is it really your purpose? Because there's a big difference. Someone might really love yoga, but actually they don't want to start a yoga studio. Do you know? So there's a difference. So finding I think, I think it doesn't need to be as dramatic as that. Like I think learning and understanding, uncovering what that purpose is, what really lights you up, what are your strengths and what are you really good at. Limiting beliefs is another thing that I think is really interesting, because people could be fearful, but that's actually not their belief system. It could be parents, grandparents, generational. We're all told that you've got to have a proper permanent full-time job, and you have to own a house and you have to have children, and they're all, to me, they're like, oh my gosh, like really limiting. So I think it doesn't need to be dramatic. It could be, you could start something, you could start a side business,
transition into it.
Exactly. And sometimes some people start something and then realize, actually, this is not what I thought it was going to be. I think I might just take it back to being a hobby. And then try something else. Or just take a leap of faith. I think there's I think it depends on where the person is.
And their situation. If somebody does have a mortgage, then maybe getting a full-time position isn't the right option for them.
Exactly. Exactly. And I also think too is that just trust how they feel. Like, don't listen to anyone else. In a sense, if you want specific advice, go and ask someone their advice. Otherwise, sometimes it's like keeping these things quiet, just telling your inner circle, getting some quiet advice from people who you really trust, and then just doing it anyway.
Find your cheerleaders.
Oh, yeah, that's good. Have you got a group of cheerleaders?
Yeah, I do. And then I certainly have some people that I love and trust, but know that they're not part of that cheerleading team too. Not everyone's a cheerleader. Because unfortunately, some people feel like that they're going to lose you if you then do something different to where their life is leading. We can go in different ways and still love and adore and treat each other beautifully and spend time together. So that people moving in different circles or ways doesn't mean a loss. But for some people, that's how they perceive it. And so, sometimes I think that's not always the case, but for some people, why they might, boo-hoo your idea or your want for change, often that's where it stems from.
Yeah, definitely. That inner circle piece, I think, is really important. Like, I've got only about 3 people in my inner circle, and they're people that I trust, but there are also people who will challenge me. So, and the 3 of them are different in the sense of I go to them for different things, for different advice, because I, love and respect them for that particular thing.
Yeah, great.
Because I don't want an inner circle that everyone's just like, yes, Megan, that's amazing. Like, I actually need some challenge as well.
That's right. You don't want to be placated. Yeah, it's really important that, you get that good critical feedback is really, really valuable.
Absolutely. And don't always think that your family and friends are going to be the ones that are the right ones in that inner circle, because sometimes, as you said, I read somewhere recently in the sense of particularly family, sometimes your family aren't supporters because of you, not because they don't love you, but because they only know you of that version.
Yes.
Was it you and I? Were we talking about this?
I think we were. And yes, they change. So if they see your identity potentially changing, then that's where that sense of loss can come from. They feel like they're losing you to something or someone else, yet your being and your essence hasn't changed.
Yeah.
So that's where it come from.
Yeah, interesting. So can we go back to the blue zone? Because I'm really curious. Yeah, because when we talked about it, I hadn't heard about it. So can you share with us what's the blue zone and what it's all about?
It was one of the blue zones on the planet. I think there's 5 from memory.
Right.
There's one in the US that's not, it's kind of man-made, if you like. They've taken all the aspects of the various blue zones, which have just naturally formed, and then created their own. And there's one stark difference to it. The Okinawa, for example, as it being a blue zone, well, all the blue zones is where the most amount of centenarians live. So the most amount of people who have reached the age or exceeded the age of 100. And so, what is it about their makeup? What is it about their culture that makes it so? And how has that come to be? And so obviously diet is a big one, what they eat. And, it's certainly part of that is that they grow their own food, they catch their own food, and they, eat as cleanly as possible. They do drink. The only blue zone that doesn't is the one in the US, so in California, which is I'm sorry, I can't remember the name of it, but that is a dry zone, if you like. Now, the other blue zones, it's not like they drink to excess, but they will have a drink that works well with the meal. And so it's part of the process of eating. And also it's not just the eating, it's the way of eating as well. And so it is sitting down and enjoying the moment and enjoying the meal. It's not watching television whilst you're eating. And food is a very, very big part of the culture. So it's the cooking process, it's the growing it, catching it, the cooking it, and the eating of it. It's all separate parts of the day and how it should be done. Of course, community, which I touched on earlier, being an integral part of the community and making sure that you're in communication and connection with people. And so even those who do live alone will still have others come in and connect with them and spend time together, and vice versa. Being physical, of course, and wherever possible, physical out in nature, and bringing nature to you as well. So even the ones who we saw and visited and met, who live in smaller apartments, they had pot plants everywhere, bonsais and pot plants and all sorts of beautiful things, but also will get out and actively walk and be in nature as well. So that's another aspect. And of course the living for today. So mindset's a really, really big one. Is not that stressing and worrying about the future. And also not focused on retirement either. Continuing not necessarily a 9 to 5, Monday to Friday job, but being an important part of society, doing whatever it is that is their gift, doing jobs that they love and putting themselves and their energy and their effort into it. Whether that is stacking the supermarket shelf or, being a gardener or cleaner or whatever it might be, a business owner, it doesn't really matter. It's the fact that they enjoy doing it and they do it to the best of their ability, and with a smile on their face as well.
Wow. It's really, it's just living simply, isn't it? Like it's
Simply.
and even just the mindset of just a really, and I'm not being derogatory when I say this, but like a simple mindset in the sense as well.
Yeah, because the complexity of life is stressful. And so it is about living as simply as possible to, not that we can live stress-free, that's for sure. And of course, there's certain things that we can't control, but it's not focusing on the things that we can't control. And yes, that's right, living simply, because the more we add, and sometimes we think, if we're not feeling fulfilled, we think we need to fill the gap and fill the space with more either stuff or things to do. And it's actually the removal of a lot of those things that create this more simple enjoyment of life, which is what they do, that's for sure.
I find that the more content I am in life, the simpler my life is, because I just realise that I just don't need the stuff. It's the people, it's the situation, sitting, it's getting cold here in Australia, as you know, and sitting on the lounge with my husband and we still hold hands, which is really lovely, and just it's a cold winter's night, but we've got the heater on, and just that, to me, that is really content. But it's simple. I don't need anything else.
That's right.
I don't need the fancy car down in the garage or the, $20 million penthouse or something. Like, I'm going to feel the same regardless of whether I've got that or not.
That's right. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Really
interesting. And so do you think that then that philosophy of, just focusing on today and that energy that he had, do you think that that's something that it's just innate in him because it's just how he's grown up, because generation after generation, that's just how they live?
I'm putting it down to that. I couldn't tell you for sure, but I'm putting it down to that only from the fact of meeting so many other people on our travels from Okinawa as well, and that they were, similar. Also, his son, his neighbour, his friends. But we travelled all of the island and some of the smaller islands as well, and found most of the people to be the same.
Right.
So certainly in the city area, a little bit different. And yes, there is McDonald's there now and various things. And so they are a little bit, there's certainly some word that, and they're hoping that the younger generation will continue and the culture won't change or do too dramatically. But yeah, certainly that was my sense, that it's just inbuilt in them because it's part of the DNA, but when you're in the environment, it's much easier to become that.
Yeah, because it would be really obvious if you were living in a place like that and you were, I don't know, going shopping and spending thousands on something. Like, it'd be really obvious if you walked in with a Rolex watch or something. Do you know, like, you'd really stand out.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, absolutely. Well, there's like in the capital, there's a couple of department stores there, but other than that, and certainly into the more rural areas where we visited, there aren't even shopping centres. There's community stores, which are wonderful. And people who grow, and make various things from that region, and they sell things within those stores. So they've got sections. But other than that, then of course there's a few 7-Elevens and Lawsons and different things. But yeah, there's no major shopping centres and supermarkets and that kind of thing. Yeah.
It's so interesting, isn't it? I remember when we were clearing out my mum and dad's place, and they had downsized into a retirement village, but I remember we all picked things that we wanted, but for me, it became really obvious too that all the stuff that we were putting in boxes and donating and it's just stuff. Like, mum and dad were gone.
Yeah.
They didn't care that it just was a really interesting. It didn't matter what the brand of the clothing was or the sheets or the crockery. It's just stuff,
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
That whole feeling of wanting to, I don't know, just hoard. It's not hoarding. It's filling a space. If I get this, I'm going to be happier. So many people say, if I win the lotto, my whole life will change. Yeah, but
same person.
Maybe it won't. Maybe it'll be disastrous.
Yes.
There's been lots of cases of that happening.
That's right. And part of that I've read and heard is that comes down to identity. If they if they still have the identity of I'm poor, unless that changes from winning the lotto, somehow they'll lose the money or they'll give it away or something will happen.
Yeah.
Whereas if they feel rich inside as a being, as a person, and they feel wealthy, then more likely, and then also more likely that that's attracted to them, but more likely that it's going to be kept. Now, of course, that doesn't apply just to lotto winners. It applies to everyone and everything.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And so with all of this sort of these beautiful moments that you've had on your trip, do you think that the work that you do with your clients now is going to change? Like, is there subtle shifts that will happen in relation to Bloom College and the way that you're going, or what you're going to offer, or how you're going to work with your clients?
Sure. Yeah, I think it reminds me to find, what's the best way to describe it, is really just to look at what it is that, what type of business, for instance, we're talking about my business membership students.
Mm-hmm.
So what is it, what type of business is going to really fulfill them and fill their needs? And we did look at that, but I feel like that makes it even more important now, to really look at what that is. How big a business do they want to build? How, how small a business do they want to build? What is it that's actually going to give them the lifestyle and the fulfillment that they so need and want, which is a bit different to what's possible. What's
Mm.
possible is endless.
Mm.
But what do they actually want and need?
Mm.
Because, like what we were saying before, the more complex and the more bigger things are, sometimes, not always, but sometimes it can be more stressful. And so is that what that particular student needs or wants in their life? Whereas another student may want a huge, very big business and have the support crew and the ability to build that. And so it's about really individualizing. Okay, so what is it, what's right for this particular person, and them deciding on that. Not me, not their, not the people around them. Really finding out what it is that what are their values,
Mm.
and then bringing a business that's designed and aligned to their values.
I love that. And I love that you've brought that values piece in, because that's so important, in the work that both of us do,
Yeah.
because we both work with people who are building businesses and stepping into that space, that values piece is so important, because when you're aligned to the values of what you want to live by,
Yes.
decision making completely changes.
Yeah.
I feel like when you're really clear on your values, your intuition kicks in a lot quicker,
Mm,
because you've got this little checklist. Now, do they tick all my boxes? No, they don't. So actually, I don't want to do that.
that's right. And then you also attract clients who are aligned to those values as well.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, really beautiful.
Yeah.
Um, and do you think for yourself, like, so we're in June, far out. Do you think for yourself for the rest of the year, has your approach to what you want to do in the next 6 months changed as well?
Yeah, I think actually it has. And it's probably brought, it's kind of, even though I'm saying be live simply, it's propelled me to actually do more, from a Bloom College offering. So it's because it's highlighted to me more and more is that let's not wait for tomorrow for what we can do today. So having that presence on today is also like, okay, well, why am I saying let's do this next month or next year
Yeah.
when I know that I can do it today? Without pressure of, I'm going to do my whole to-do list in one day, but really focusing on what's most important, and at the end of the day, what's going to shift the needle, what's going to make me feel really fulfilled at the end of the day if I've given some time, focus, and energy to it.
Yeah, yeah, I love that. And I think that that's what has happened for me as well, in the
Great.
sense of and in the sense of James Clear's book, The Atomic Habits, is something that's really resonated with me. And you and I have talked about this a lot, in the sense of he talks about chipping away and just doing, 1% a day. And I feel like that maybe this is intuitively now why I'm thinking that when you talk to me about this, it really resonated with me, because it is about that. It's like, what can I do today? What's the most important thing? And as you said, that's a great point that you said, that we can have a long to-do list, but actually, what do I really need to do today that's actually really important? Not the easiest things to do,
And really not.
because those other things start to go at the bottom of the list.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's what can I do today that then, as you said, shifts the needle for tomorrow and the next day.
Yeah, that's right.
Being really mindful of that, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah, interesting.
Mm.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. Um, and so if you could bottle the man's wisdom into one piece of advice for everyone, what would it be? Like, what would your advice be? Is it just focus on today, or what's the Yvette's wisdom in this?
I think it's about minding your energy. So focusing on your energy for today, and minding that and remembering that that's your job. Like that's and it's within your control. So we're not going to be high vibing all the time, and we don't need or want to be high vibing all the time.
Yeah.
But when we especially in the space of others, it's a responsibility to bring our best selves and to carry our best energy as possible. If we are feeling down, then fine, be open about it and acknowledge, and that's fine. But with the intention of doing something that will help you move through it. Now, doesn't mean you have to click your fingers and you're out and you're happy.
Yeah.
But having that intention that you're not going to slip down into victim, and you're going to bring the best energy into the space, the environment that you can. And so, and it's an inside job. No one else can do it for you.
Yeah.
Sometimes we look for external things that to do it for us, and we expect it and want it from other people or experiences. But really, at the end of the day, it's up to us, and that's our one responsibility. And the best gift that we can give to everyone and anyone is bringing our best selves and our energy.
I love that you've said that a couple of times, that it's an inside job, and you're right. Like, it's up to us, right?
Yeah.
Everything, all of that sort of stuff is up to us, from managing ourselves and our energy and our perspective and what we do. What sort of things do you do from an energetic point of view to protect your energy? Have you got any rituals or anything that you do?
Yeah, there's a few things. There's a number of different flower meditations that I do, but even like an example. So my husband and I were looking to move to our forever home, and in the process of doing that, we're living in a rental unit, and so I've kind of been focused on when we get, like, I'll start my garden again when we get to the place, and then realised, and my husband helped me, let's just start our bonsai garden now. Like, we don't have to wait. We can do that now. And so on the weekend we did that. And so getting out, being with plants and flowers and nature, that definitely helps me for sure. Yeah. So it's a big one.
Yeah, I think looking after your energy is really important, like protecting our own energy. I do lots of different things. I use oils on the top of, like, on my crown chakra. So frankincense is usually the best one for kind of psychic protection, I suppose.
Okay. Yeah, that's interesting.
I put oil on my feet to then keep me grounded as well. If I'm not, if I'm sitting here in the office for a while, I'll have some oil to put on my feet. But the other thing too is that, and I teach people, if they've not ever done it before, is that imagine like a halo of white light on your head, and then you pull that halo of light over your body.
Great one.
And you do that in the morning, and it's quite amazing, because when your energy is protected, naturally no one else's energy can actually affect you, so it bounces off. And depending, sometimes you might need to do it a couple of times a day, depending if where you are.
Yes,
that is a good one, because it's if we're not looking after our energy, we then take on other people's energy.
So true.
It can really affect us. Absorb it, drain us. Then it affects us. If someone's around us who, I don't know, I'm sure people can relate to that if you're around someone that's really happy and jolly, you're naturally happy and jolly. If you're around someone that's really sad or angry, we absorb that, and then we become angry and unhappy.
Yeah, absolutely. There's a shower ritual that I was taught once as well, which I still do. I've laminated it and put it in the shower. So, but now I just remember it, and I don't have to read it anymore. But that's washing it away, washing the energy of others away from the day, and washing away what no longer serves you as well, if it's energy, your own energy that you're carrying, and very much about by washing the energy of others away. And the white light one, that's a great one. I remember the same person taught me that that you can teach with children, although I've used it for myself, especially if you're going to bed at night and you just don't feel safe and you don't feel protected, whether that's physically or energetically. And just imagine that you've put on a onesie and zip the whole thing up, and it's a white onesie and it's your layer of protection. And so, I think
that's great. I love that.
I've used it plenty of times myself.
Yeah. And the shower is a great example too. Depending on like if you're a visual person as well, I love the shower, particularly if I'm feeling emotional and I want to have a really good cry. I love crying in the shower because for me, I love that I know then that the tears are I'm releasing them, and then I can see them going down the drain. Like for me, then it feels like that I've really shifted that emotion.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's really good. Yeah.
There you go. Gosh, lots of,
especially around a full moon, I find it's quite helpful.
Yes. All right. Well, focusing on today, so just being present, just living simply.
That's it.
Planting the seeds for
energy, and that's right. Planting the seeds for tomorrow.
Yeah, beautiful. Wow. And so do you think that you will plan going back to Japan? Like, is it somewhere now that you'll definitely revisit?
Yes, most definitely. Yeah.
Beautiful.
Some other parts. We did see some more rural parts this time, which was great. And we'd like to do more of that again. Yeah.
Beautiful. Amazing. Thank you.
Thanks,
it's been really lovely.
Yeah. I look forward to hearing a little bit more too about the new offerings that you've got as well.
I'm just in the moments of just finalizing all of that. So so I will there will be lots of things shared in relation to that too. So thank you.
Well, thank you. Thanks for having me. It's been wonderful. As always having a chance.
Yeah, it was really lovely, wasn't it? And I knew that we would be, every time we get together, it's always a beautiful conversation. So it's been really nice to spend the time with you today, and also just to really explore that. I just think that the audience will get a lot out of this conversation.
I hope so.
Yeah, definitely. And I'd like to also thank all of my amazing and dedicated audience and guests and supporters and everyone who's always supporting this show. And I hope you have a great week, and I look forward to seeing everyone again next week. And thanks again, Yvette.
Thank you. Thanks, Megan. Bye.
See you.